AKA Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. You can't disturb this event. You didn't take your brain for it. You gotta go outside. Are you doing
Excuse me.
Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Can we get some footage? I need my crew over here.
Alex, I understand why it probably seemed that way.
Hold on, I gotta get video. Hey, where's Rob Do? I gotta get video.
Should we do this?
Hey, we need video of Chuck E. Cheese.
Alex, I'm right here.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay, I need HD of Chuck E. Cheese. You know how famous you're gonna be? The fact that the animatronic rat is now alive in America?
Alex, that's so exciting.
I know, no, dude, Chuck E. Cheese, man.
But look, let me apologize to you. I caught you on the street. I said some things. I accused you of being a crisis actor. I don't think that's fair.
I never accused the people in Florida of being crisis actors.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that
Hey, when I was a child, do you know how creepy you were to me as a rat?
Alex,
now you're here and I know you're not scary.
I said.
Can you sing a song with me?
You're a victim.
Hey
here,
kids, we're here. It's Chuck E. Cheese time. It's Chuck E. Cheese the Rat.
I just want to apologize to you. I think it's what any decent person would
Mr.
do
Chuck E. Cheese,
after they've accused someone
Chuck
of something
E. Cheese
like
lives.
This. Wouldn't you agree that
Pinocchio
apologizing is the decent thing to do?
Pinocchio became a living real boy.
Don't you think?
And
Alex,
the animatronic
Alex,
rat became a real boy.
Don't you think that me apologizing to you is the right thing to do?
I think it's okay that you're Chuck E. Cheese, the animatronic rat.
Don't you think that, Alex?
I think it's okay you're Chuck E. Cheese, the animatronic rat.
Alex, I'm going to take
I
your
think it's
repeated
okay.
references to Chuck E. Cheese rats as an acceptance of my apology.
I think that you look like Chuck E.
So
Cheese, the
thank you for
animatronic
that.
rat. I am Bill Hicks. And as an animatronic rat,
I
want to
was
welcome
worried
your
you were going to be
NBC.
mad at me for the rest of time.
No, we love you, Chuck E. Cheese. You will now be known as Chuck E. Cheese Meme World. I am calling on the forces of meme power.
Wow, this
man is now
what
known.
civilized political discourse looks like.
You are now becoming Chuck E.
This is
Cheese.
really cool. Got it right.
You are now known as the rat.
So when someone does something to you and you don't totally agree,
And when you're a
with it,
fake
you turn
media
into a
outlet
meme.
like Comedy Central that distorts what we say and we do and poses as journalists and try to destroy free speech and try to lie about who we are, I declare you are Chuck E. Cheese the rat. Brain force could not heal you.
Alex,
there's only one creature who doesn't take brain force, and that's Chuck E. Cheese, the creepy rat.
One quick follow-up on brain
All
force.
I want to know is, why are you horrifying so many?
I took
why are you horrifying
13
so many?
brain force earlier. Is that?
That'll probably kill you, actually. Too powerful.
Okay. All right, I was afraid of that.
It's too powerful. That's why it says only takers are directed.
Okay, I did not.
It's
do
over.
That.
But hey, rats have strong immune systems.
It was when you were feeding them to me on the street that I thought I was like, oh, I could just
Chuck
keep
E.
eating
Cheese
these,
the rat.
So,
What's his name? What's
Alex,
his name?
Alex, will you accept
Kobe.
my apology?
Kobe Libya is now transformed into
Alex, no, Libya is a country.
Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, that Hillary destroyed and said, I came, I saw, he died?
Yeah.
Alex,
Did Hillary destroy
Alex,
Libya, your home country?
Do you accept my apology?
I
Are you
accept.
suggesting that I'm from Libya?
I suggest the fact that
What makes you
you
suggest
chose
I'm
that
from Libya,
name, which sounds
Alex?
like an antecedent of that. The point is that
I
you
chose
are
that
now.
name because it's my father's name.
I understand. The good part is, Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, what?
Chuck E. Cheese. Your dad's name Chucky.
My dad's name is not Chucky.
Your
no.
name is Chuck E. Cheese the
Alex,
rat.
Why don't you
Chuck E.
accept,
Cheese.
Alex, why don't you accept my
You
apology?
are Chuck E. Cheese. You are Chuck E. Cheese. You are Chuck E. Cheese. You are Chuck E. Cheese. He is Chuck E. Cheese. He is Chuck E. Cheese. That's right. You are a comedy show. Chuck E. Cheese the rat. Chuck E. Cheese the rat. I dubbed thee. I christened thee forever. You cannot escape it.
This is fun.
You are now the rat man.
This is a fun game.
You are now the rat man.
I get it.
You are now the Chuck E. Cheese mainstream media rat.
I get it.
You are Chuck E. Cheese the rat.
You shake my hand.
Abracadabra, you are the Chuck E. Cheese rat.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Chuck
so
E.
much.
Cheese, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for giving
the
me a chance to
animatronic rat
apologize.
became a real boy.
I really appreciate it.
Here he is, Chuck E. Cheese.
You're the victim here, Alex.
Chuck E. Cheese.
You're the victim
I know,
here.
not the big mainstream media, not Time Warner.
No,
Oh,
you're
you
the-
guys,
that's what I'm saying.
how's your AT&T merger going?
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
not
You're the-
Chuck E. Cheese the rat.
You're the victim
You are
here,
Chuck E.
Alex.
Cheese the rat.
I
Look, Chuck E.
apologize
Cheese the
to
rat.
you.
We thank you, Chuck E. Cheese.
I apologize
Chuck E.
to
Cheese
you.
the rat doesn't like brain force. Chuck E. Cheese.
Wow.
Chuck E. Cheese.
You know what you're
Chuck
really
E.
good at?
Cheese.
Repeating the
Chuck
same
E.
thing over and
Cheese.
over again.
Because you're Chuck E. Cheese the rat from now on.
You're really good at that.
His name is now Chuck E. Cheese
so
the rat.
good at this.
Chuck E. Cheese the rat. You are now Chuck E. Cheese the rat.
Alex, how do you expect this to play out?
You're going to edit it together like you always do. We have all this video to show what really happened, and then we will show what we really
I
said
actually mean this
versus how you
conversation. How do
edit
you
it.
expect this conversation to play
You will
out?
now
I'm
be known
sincerely asking.
as the new meme Chuck E. Cheese the rat.
But
Enjoy
what
yourself.
what do you want me to take away? So as a person,
I want you to take away that I get that you're a fake comedy show
believe
trying
I'm
to
a fake
destroy the
comedy show,
truth,
yes.
and that we're here exposing and we don't give you serious
But I'm-
discord
but I'm
back.
sincerely
You are Chuck E.
asking.
Cheese the rat. Now, that's it. I'll talk to you later.
So when I start sincerely asking you questions, you bounce.
You want to go on stage with me right now?
I mean,
Okay, are we rolling live online?
It would be a privilege.
Do it.
It would be a privilege to go on stage.
Will you do an animatronic dance with me?
Yeah, I mean, no, but I would love to go on stage with you.
All right, if you go outside and sit back there and are good and eat your cheese and have your brain force, in a little while, we'll let Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, the condescending, comic that poses as a journalist, we will allow the teleprompter reader
I just want to ask you a couple
to enter into the real world.
and more importantly, apologize. If you let me do that on stage, I'll do that.
You are a childhood nightmare to me as the anatomic rat. To see the anatomic rat alive in my face.
I'm your nightmare?
Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat.
I have
Chuck
a
E.
nickname
Cheese
from
the Rat.
Alex Jones.
Chuck E. Cheese the Rat.
Alex Jones
Chuck E.
gave
Cheese,
me
yes,
a nickname.
he is the Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Now, thank you, sir. Glennis, you've got your fake TV show, Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, your animatronic. Please go back out into your nest.
I do sincerely have a question.
Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. I said, go wait and be a good boy, and then you can come.
I do sincerely
Chuck
have a
E. Cheese
question.
the Rat. Okay, guys, we need the hotel folks, because we're doing our own little free speech thing. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat smelled cheese. He wants it. So can we just ask you to respect our First Amendment? We'll allow you in after we've started the live feed. We have to start the live feed, do serious big boy stuff, and then Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, once we're done, can kind of sneak back in. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. Bye-bye, Chuck E. Cheese Rat. Bye-bye, Chuck E. Cheese. Bye, Chuck E. Cheese. Bye-bye, Rat.
Do you hear my
Bye-bye, Rat.
Do you hear my words?
I hear that you edit this and you work for a fraudulent organization.
You
Chuck E.
have
Cheese
a
the Rat.
live stream of everything. What are you worried about?
No, I'm not.
You
Chuck
have
E.
a
Cheese
live
the
stream
Rat.
of everything that's happening
Chuck E.
today.
Cheese the Rat.
Every single one of our
Understand.
interactions has been recorded by both of us.
So just like
How
Antifa,
could this go
you
wrong
crashed
for
our
you?
live event, Chuck E. Cheese, you're not leaving.
Just like Antifa. All
right, we need Rat Patrol.
You equate me with
We have
those.
to ask the hotel to have the rat removed. I'll get him.
Now, I have a First Amendment right to accuse people of whatever I want.
You're in
That's
a
what I've just
You're in
learned
a private
from you.
hotel, Chuck
That's
E.
what
Cheese.
I've just learned.
Chuck E.
You
Cheese.
can call people Chuck E. Cheese.
No, Chuck E. Cheese. You're in our office. You're in our area. We rented this.
Hold on. When
and
you're on
here
a private
disrupting.
platform like YouTube, the people that run
No,
that
that's
platform
different.
get to
They
decide who's
advertise
there.
that as a public utility, and they're about to get busted up for it.
YouTube advertises itself as a public utility.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Chuck E.
this
Cheese.
hotel is a public utility.
No, it's not. It's
That's
a
how it
private
works.
room.
You just get to say what's
It's a
a private
different. Chuck E.
utility,
Cheese the Rat.
You keep
Chuck
going
E.
back
Cheese
to
the
that.
Rat.
You keep going back to
Because you're in our
if
event.
you had a real response.
All right,
to
so there you
my
go. I'm gonna have to have
apology. I would
Chuck
like
E.
to hear
Cheese.
it. Every time
Because
I
you're a
talk about
rat.
this
You're
with you,
Chuck E.
without
Cheese the
flavor.
Rat, dude. You're supposed to be at your cheese place.
Alex, do
That's where you're supposed to be.
Do you accept my apology? Do you accept my apology, Alex? He's.
Thank you, Chucky.
What is
Need
it?
to go,
What is
Chucky.
Alex? What is it, Alex? You're not accepting
Chuck
my
E.
apology?
Cheese the Rat. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. You're not getting your edits. Chuck E. Cheese the Rat.
I'm so
Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. 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 Chuck E. Cheese the Rat.
Wait, one more.
We got it.
Good job.
Their edits are unusable.
We're gonna have fun editing that one. Woo! Yeah. Are we not done? We got more?
Just carry that out.
You get all the rat stuff?
I don't know. This is awesome. Yeah.
Hey, I'm ready to get over there for this.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
You're familiar
Let's get ready to rumble! We found Comedy Central rat in here. Don't worry, we yell at each other. I got it.
Yeah. This mic is that's just a guest mic. I don't know if you want to.
All right, everybody, we'll get Roger Stone up here in a little while. Everybody, let's chill out and let Roger sit down. We had, what's that guy's name from the failed Comedy Central? What's that guy's name? Kobe. What is it, Kobe?
Kobe Libby.
Kobe, Chuck E. Cheese, the rat bastard. So what they want to do is talk to us and make us look like idiots and then edit it all out of context and tell a bunch of lies about us. And all they get from me is Chuck E. Cheese, the rat, which will be his new meme. It will be what he's known as 50 years from now when he goes on to Valhalla. He doesn't understand memes. Just like Trump, lying Ted Cruz or crooked Hillary. But here's the thing. For a moniker, for a nickname to stick, it's got to actually fit the bill. And let me tell you something. Who doesn't think Comedy Central and all those anti-American, pseudo-intellectual scumbags don't look and act like a bunch of goddamn globalist rats? What do you think? Let's give them a clip, and they try to cut all this together on Comedy Central. Chuck E. Cheese, the rat, go home. Crawl back in your hole. Chuck E. Cheese, the rat bastard. Woo! It's all about say you're sorry to the kids that you say didn't die. Say you're sorry they're all crisis actors. Never said it. Just like I didn't say there's slave bases with Martian kids on it. That's the lying fake news they put out to the few idiots that still tune in and believe them. And the reason mainstream media, the corporate press, and all the public system is trying to shut us down and shut you down is because we're not one unified group. We're just people that want common sense and free speech and want to have a basic future for every race, color, creed that bleed red blood. And that's what exposes and freaks those people out. Right before I got here, I was watching Zuckerberg, who had a whole bunch of armed guards bring him into the Capitol yesterday. He's up there testifying before the Senate. And the Republican and Democrat senators were like, how are you going to save us from the Russian bots that keep promoting making America great? And folks, if you know all the details, it is a total and complete lie. Less than 1% of global bots are Russian. But like you're an idiot, they want to introduce the world to everybody and go, there's a thing called bots, and the Russians just came up with it. There's a thing called fire, and the Russians just came up with it. There's a thing called the Second. They've actually said in hundreds of publications that the Russians are behind the Second Amendment. I'm not kidding. That's right. That's what they're going to say. George Washington's a Russian. Everybody's a Russian, but Hillary in bed selling out our uranium to the Russians. So, watching Zuckerberg, here's how it works. They want to bring in internet regulation to shut down free speech. So they go after Trump. Data mining, with a public company that grabs public names off Facebook. They introduce data mining and act like it's identity theft. But the identity theft of Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, reading your email, going into your phone, selling your data to all these foreign governments, that's not illegal. That's not data mining. Just publicly scraping information becomes data mining, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. And then the whole debate is, what are we going to do about this data breach by what happened over in England with the Cambridge Analytica? And the whole world becomes not the Office of Personnel Management, 20 plus million people's identities of the government being stolen, being given by Obama to the communist Chinese. That's not an issue. Not 150 million identities of people that use Under Armour getting stolen last week. Not all the other Bank of America hacks or all the rest of it, or these companies selling your data and calling it a hack, as some cases evidence points towards. It's about acting like conservatives and nationalists and Christians and other people are not allowed to have free speech, are not allowed to be politically involved, are not allowed to enter the public discourse and be involved. So, Roger Stone and his buddy are having such a good conversation, and I'm serious. I want them both up here right now. They're going to speak first, because I have a lot to say. But I'm serious. I'll bring them up here. I love them. I'm not got to sweat. It smells so bad. Seriously, here's Roger Stone. Get his buddy up here. He looks prestigious. And then I'm going to get more into the serious attack. Because this is the attack on America. They're going to misbrand it as your guns, your children, your free speech, your heritage, property rights. It's all Russian. When they're the globalists selling the country out, and it's a desperate hoodwink, and it's going on right now in Congress. They're making their big move because free speech and free will. We'll get Doug Hagman to speak as well. We'll get Melanie Weaver. We'll get a whole bunch of people to speak up here. We are cleaning the clock. We're going to finish speaking in like 30, 40 minutes and then have a couple hours of questions, which is always really interesting. And then we'll invite Chuck E. Cheese the Rat in here like regular folks who come to the microphone and ask a question. Roger Stone, good to have you here, my friend. Woo!
I'm aware of the fact that the real reason you came here today is to see some truly great tailoring. As I said earlier today, I am honored to be with my friend Alex Jones. And I point out to you that the reason that InfoWars specifically is targeted in a campaign of censorship, the reason there is a specific hard-hitting effort to strangle our First Amendment rights is because InfoWars is indeed the cutting edge of alternative media. Because we are the tip of the spear. Because there is no place where Alex Jones fears to go if that's where the facts lead him. Right. They make fun of us for selling supplements. What does Bezos do at Whole Foods? The difference is our prices are better, our quality's higher. I mean, the truth of the matter is because we are listener and viewer supported, we have no corporate masters. There is no international corporate advertiser who says to Alex Jones, you can cover that topic, but you can't cover that. You can say that, but you can't say that. And therefore, if you work with InfoWars, if you work at InfoWars, you know that you have to be responsible for your own reporting, but there is no area in which you cannot go if it's newsworthy and the facts take you there. Make no mistake about the fact that we are targeted because we're the test case. If they take InfoWars off of YouTube, off of Facebook, off of Twitter, if they remove us from the internet, who is next? The Daily Caller, the Gateway Pundit, Breitbart, and so many other Town Hall, so many other great alternative media sites who bring you the truth, they're next on the hit list. Make no mistake about that. This is the most important fight we face. This is the preeminent political struggle because all other fights, whether it is over immigration or trade or the economy or globalism, are kneecapped if we don't have a megaphone. Are kneecapped if we don't have a right to speak. Are kneecapped if we do not have equal access to the internet. Amen, brother. The internet is the great equalizer. It is only through a robust and vibrant alternative media that Donald Trump was able to be elected. In the 2016 election, the way the old media was rigged for Hillary Clinton, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and yes, even sometimes Fox. Notice the way they built Donald Trump up in the nomination phase, only to try to tear him down in the general election phase. That's because Hillary Clinton and her incredibly stupid advisors believed that Donald Trump was the most beatable Republican candidate. They never realized he was the one candidate they couldn't beat. And even the new media was rigged. How is it that when the Trump campaign put out a press release, Google classified that as promotional, but when Hillary Clinton put out a press release, it was classified as an update? That's the difference between millions and millions of openings. So despite the fact that the old media and the new media were both rigged for Hillary, despite the fact that she spent almost $2 billion, while Donald Trump and his supporters may have spent $275 million, Hillary Clinton was outworked, outfoxed, outmaneuvered, outstrategized, and out-hustled by Donald J. Trump.
And the American
The American people responded. Why? Because he was the right man at the right time. Because he walked into a perfect storm. Why? Because for 30 years, the established political order has given us foreign wars without end, where our inherent national interests were never clear. erosion of our civil liberties, reading our emails, reading our text messages, keeping metadata on us. Immigration policies were pursued that made our streets and neighborhoods unsafe. Trade policies were pursued that we were promised were the panacea, but in fact sucked the jobs out of middle America. And an economic policy that gave us almost no growth. We were told when GDP averaged 1.5 in the Obama years, that was the best we could expect. You don't understand. This is the new global economy. America is no longer a leader. Get used to it. Well, Donald Trump disproved that. You have 100% growth in the economy. The economy is growing at 3%. They said it wasn't possible. Donald Trump did it by cutting regulation, by cutting taxes, and by understanding that it's time to tell the world America is open for business. Right. You have to connect the dots in the overall strategy of the globalists. Taking away our free speech rights is the precursor to taking away our Second Amendment rights. They don't want us to be able to protest when they seek to take away our firearms as guaranteed to us by the Constitution. They don't want us to have a voice as we enter the 2018 and 2020 elections because they saw in 2016 what happens when you have a vibrant, robust, open dialogue with the American people. And that is too dangerous for the globalists. The left has figured out that they can't win argument. It used to be about debate. I've got a lot of friends in this town.
Doing good.
I've even got friends who are Democrats. And we used to be able to have a civil discourse. But no more. Now, it's name calling. You're a waste racist. You're a white supremacist. You're a white nationalist. No, I'm a patriot. Their answer is to silence us. And InfoWars is first on the hit list. Make no mistake about it. And when elitist snots come in here from Comedy Central, but fundamentally are not funny, they've got a problem. Now, Jordan Kepler's been trying to get me on his show. I've got numerous emails from his producer. Please come on with Jordan. My response, I have a better idea. Tell Jordan to come on the InfoWars with me. Well, I bet he doesn't have the cojones to show up. He won't be able to use the teleprompter on InfoWars. We don't use teleprompters. We speak from the heart. We speak from the gut. We tell the truth. That's a confection. And I got bad news for you, Jordan. You're just not funny. So I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to take your questions. Make no mistake about it. Whether you're interested in economic issues or immigration issues or trade issues or military and defense issues or foreign policy issues, none of it matters without your right to free speech and your access to the internet. God bless you for being here. I look forward to your time.
Roger is on fire. And what's crazy about it is it's all true. You tune into CNN, MSNBC, almost all those channels. It's just talking points that people that want to make America great again are Russian agents. Trump has devastated Russia by massively expanding U.S. energy production, checkmating them, and their energy stocks the last year have gone straight down. Russia is floundering. Their stock market has crashed. And I don't even feel good about doing that. I'm nothing against Russia. But Trump is so America first, he has plunged the Russian stock market, taken their entire energy supply, and is now taking over and delivering gas to the world of Europe. He's got troops and forces rolling up against Russia's border that breaks the deal we had with them after 1992, 1991. So my only criticism of Trump is that he is stomping the guts out of Russia, and they haven't done anything to us. You want to get honest about geopolitical stuff, Obama and Hillary sold out to Russia. But they sold out to anybody else that came along with money. Trump is crushing Communist China, crushing Russia, crushing the EU, crushing the corrupt Vatican, crushing radical Islam. And the media and this whole swamp here in D.C. that sat there and said that he was sold out to foreign interests, that's because they're globalists. That means they take over your country and they sell out your resources. Quite frankly, Trump is so nationalistic, so America first, that it started to actually scare me and go to the other side of the equation. The claims that he is trying to screw the country over are 1,000% pure, absolute crap. And everybody knows it and everybody can see it. And he's trying everything he can to boost wages, bring jobs back together city on record. And that's why the elites that thought they had this country are going completely crazy. And it's why they have sued me 13 times in the last year. And most of those lawsuits, it's only a few in the first year. Most of those, 7 or 8 of those, the last 3 months. And it's Georgetown Law, funded by George Soros. It is all of it. You know, earlier today I had Right Wing Watch, funded by People for the American Way, whose main donor is George Soros. That's the federal filings. And the guy played dumb and said, I don't want to discuss that, I don't want to get into it. Then the other guy from a Soros-connected group looked at me and said, oh, I don't know anything about Soros, and I don't want to discuss that, but you say Soros overthrew countries, didn't know I could rattle off 7 of them before he wandered off. I mean, they think we're their dumbed-down, pseudo-intellectual, fake leftist audience that buys whatever they say and thinks we're just buying into all this pseudo-intellectual stuff. We're not doing that. We've done our homework. We know what we're talking about, and that's why they're crapping their britches. And see, I'm not a leftist sneak attack artist. I sit here and tell them what I've got in my guns politically before I invite them up to the microphone. When I come up here later, I will pull it up for you, show you the federal filings of George Soros funding you. That man right there is funded by George Soros, the oldest living top Nazi collaborator in the world, who is sworn to destroy nation sovereignty, sworn to bring in incredible tyranny, and he is financing the lawsuit against us through Georgetown laws that they filed, which attempts to overturn the First Amendment. The brief is on Infowars.com. The articles are there, seeing what they're doing. And quite frankly, my wife, my parents, my family asked, why are you so happy? And I said, listen, it's like John Hancock. Once he decided at the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, why we have July 4th, to sign his name on that day, he knew it was either victory or death. It was either victory against them or his family on slave ships, you know, out on the coast of Boston. A lot of the founders lost their families, they lost their lives, they lost everything. And so when John Hancock signed his name bigger and bolder, you know, letter to the King of England, King George III, tired of never been defeated, he wanted to give everybody else courage and put his name out there first and said, I'm going to risk my life. I'm going to risk it all the way. And quite frankly, it is a great honor to stand against people that work for George Soros. It is an honor to stand against the hate of a Nazi collaborator that said the best days of his life were rounding up Jews and sending them to death camps. And the left thinks they can have the Young Turks, named after a genocidal organization, killed a million Christians, or Anderson Cooper, a leftist foundation baby, one of the richest people in the country. By the time his grandma died, he got $50 billion. He wants us to take it real serious. He gets up there and says, I made it up that George Soros was a Nazi collaborator when that piece of filth bragged about it on 60 Minutes. And that's how dumb they think you are. Amen. They even put the lawsuits against me. Like it's coded messages, and I haven't figured it out yet. And Jones said that Soros was a Nazi collaborator and other lies. A message in 3 of the lawsuits. Leave Soros alone. I will not. I'm going to write books, documentaries about you, and I'm going to expose you and all the other fake media Soros, and you go back to hell and you go back. Having the best time of your lives doing this to America, but you're going to end up having the people wake up and take action against you, and it's going to happen because you're trying to suppress the sleeping giant. They didn't want to put you in prison or take your kids away or brainwash you like the left admits they want to do. They say our kids belong to them on MSNBC. We just want to have free market and freedom and classical liberalism like Thomas Jefferson talked about. But if you won't move out of the way, it's going to be serious. Just like I took that ludicrous song from 20 years ago or whatever, that one that's a great hip-hop song, and it's a little bit crass, but I'll say it because I played it to clips of Hillary before and it went viral, tens of millions of views that helped the election. Move, bitch! Get out of the way! Get out of the way, bitch! Move out of the way! And that's what it's all about. And I say that move Bill Clinton, move George Soros, move the Queen of England, move all the Rothschilds and the globalists and all these corrupt elites that want to run our lives. Just move! Get out of the way! Get out of the way! All right, hey, I'm going to play Millie Weaver up here to talk about her experience in the weekend. It's powerful. Then I have Lee Stranahan coming up, Leanne McAleese, Sherwin there, and a bunch of others. And then we're going to be going to your questions and your comments and have another round with Roger. But it's good to be here, standing for free speech, standing against these bullies, and let them know they'll never get our first amendment, and they'll never take our second. And the fact they're trying to take it away now only lets us know how they're going to fight and go murder. So if you guys don't want to fight, you better believe you got to lose.
The attacks on our free speech are apparent. We just saw with Mark Zuckerberg and this hearing where he told us that within the year he's going to implement algorithms that are going to successfully censor people and remove content off of the internet, off the social media platforms. Pretty similar to how we've been seeing the censorship go on at YouTube. What's concerning here is that we have an attack on the First Amendment, an attack on free speech, while at the same time we have the mainstream media pushing lies and propaganda that we should do away with the Second Amendment. If we don't have the first, how are we going to protect the Second Amendment? Right. How are we going to protect our country? The Constitution. All of our amendments, our right to privacy, which Mark Zuckerberg feels so content to violate over and over by selling users' information.
That's right.
Yeah. It's disturbing and it should scare us all. Yeah. So here's what I want to get at here. We've seen Antifa mobs be mobilized by George Soros. Okay, by big corporations that have tons and tons of money funneling into these groups like MoveOn.org, Refuse Fascism, and Antifa. I saw it at Charlottesville. I was there on the ground in Charlottesville, and the mainstream media started coming out immediately saying that the violence was one-sided, that only the violence was coming from the alt-right. The people who are out there trying to protect the right of a statue of our history to still exist. When we have a totalitarian government that wants to try and justify removing history, removing memorials, any American should be concerned about that. I mean, anyone who wants to just go out there and stand out there and peacefully protest should be allowed to. But here's what happened. Left groups, radical leftist groups came out there in hordes, ready to attack. And yes, there were radical elements of the right out there as well. You did have them as well, which I personally believe that a lot of these radical right groups that were out there had ties to the deep state. And they're sent out there to be provocateurs, to cause violence, so that you can demonize the entire right, demonize Trump, the entire Trump movement. So what they did was they had Antifa groups out there who came with coolers full of water balloons filled with urine, feces, and chemicals. They were throwing them and launching them into the crowd of people who were standing around the statue. They had tear gas canisters that they were deploying on the peaceful protesters, pepper spraying, attacking with bats. Okay, this was a violent mob of Antifa who came out there. And my gosh, the coverage afterward where CNN was glorifying Antifa, a known terrorist organization that justifies violence against anyone that they want to deem as a Nazi, that's abhorrent. That's inciting violence. That's why we should be concerned about our ability to refute the mainstream media's claims being taken away.
Right.
So, exactly. So essentially, what happened here, we had communists on one side saying, no free speech for you, only free speech for us. We had fascists on one side saying, no free speech for you, only free speech for us. Both sides wanted to silence the other side. Now, let's say they both got their way. Well, then who would have free speech at that point? You know, I made it very clear when I was out there reporting for Infowars.com that we don't support either of both sides' views. Communism does not align with the American way, nor does fascism. But we respect your right to be out there and peacefully assembly and peacefully protest. And that's what every American should respect. Just as every American should respect an open and free platform on the internet, on social media. Let the people on the internet decide what they want to subscribe to, what they want to watch. If you don't like something, it's simple. Move on. Don't watch it. Choose to watch something else. We should have the ability to choose, and it's concerning when we have someone like Mark Zuckerberg with all of these controls where we have billions of people on Facebook who have the ability to affect the outcome of our country, being given one-sided information. Many of this information is globalist-run propaganda that is designed to convince people that they should do away with their constitutional rights. We've seen it with the Second Amendment.
And the First Amendment right there, too.
Yeah, and the First Amendment. My mic's off.
Hold on 1 second.
Technical difficulties right now.
I'll get you the wireless.
Check it.
You know, Alex Jones has said to Piers Morgan, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our guns. And that's true. But 1776 will commence again if you try to take away our First Amendment. Because without it, we cannot protect our Second Amendment.
That's right! Yes! Yeah!
We're going to stand up and we're going to do something. We know that this assault on our First Amendment is designed to make it so they can have the upper hand, they can have the advantage when it comes to the 2018 midterm elections. They know that we, the American people, are the reason why President Trump is elected as the 45th president of the United States. We did it, not Russian bots. Us, the American people, did it. And we're going to do it again. We're going to do it in 2018, and we're going to do it in 2020. But before we can even do that, we have to stand up and protect the First Amendment. We have to stand up and protect the Second Amendment. We have to get out there and become more and more active, more vocal, spread the links, share the links. Any sites out there, any new media that's telling the truth, that's trying to get the word out there for pro-Americana, for the USA, for making America great again, we need to say, hey, let's share this, let's get this message out there. Now, I did want to add something to what Alex said. He brought up this, move, bitch, get out the way. Okay? Yeah, move, bitch, get out the way so we can make America great again.
I want to get a couple surprise speakers come up here and speak right after Lee Stranahan, who's an investigative journalist. And then we're going to just sit here and take your questions and hang out with everybody. And then later, Yeah, the reason I kept calling you Chuck E. Cheese the Rat is they don't like memes. That guy follows people around. In fact, maybe Lee Stranding can talk about that guy. This Jordan Klepper guy disinfos us constantly, lies about what we say, clips things together to say that we say no kids died in Florida, that we attack children. All of this is lies and slander and defamation. That's what he does to the guys of entertainment. They end up getting protected. So I know that they came and covered his Citizen School of Journalism. It's very popular. That does a great job in Texas, North Texas, and misrepresented us. That's why I was calling him Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, knowing they're going to edit what we say together. So if I just say Chuck E. Cheese the Rat, or some other meme that makes him look bad, he can't edit us. He's not real. He's a fraud. He's going to edit us. They're going to misrepresent. So our only defense is continually say one thing so there's no edit. And that's why he kept trying to get me to have a conversation. And no. So when you see him later out there waiting, he knows he got his ass kicked today, just say, you're a fraud, you're a scam, Chuck E. Cheese the Rat. You see one of these guys, George Soros funded, he's back here. None of it's real. They're here to pretend like they're journalists. Get their paycheck from Soros, but they're going to lose. So, Lee Stranahan, come on up here, brother. This is
First off, thanks a lot to Alex for letting me speak. You know, I was able, I can now call Alex my co-defendant, because I'm one of the people being sued in this Brennan Gilmore lawsuit, along with Alex and Leanne Mack, who you'll hear for a second. And I got to tell you, it's been really interesting. I said this to Alex earlier, actually. Here's one reason they hate Alex Jones. He's fun. Yep. Right? Yeah. Right? In fact, I said this to Alex. Hanging out with Alex today reminds me of hanging out with two of my friends, one of whom is gone, Andrew Breitbart, who was always fun. And I miss the fun of hanging around somebody. And my other friend is Dog the Bounty Hunter. So I think you can see where there's a little bit of both there with Alex. Also, the other reason it reminds me of Dog is when I'm around Alex or Dog, I end up taking a lot of pictures. I just become like a cameraman. And so that's what happens. But look, this morning I was trying to be, I was talking to mainstream media, so I wanted to be conciliatory, and I wanted to be, as a Christian, I wanted to be open and inviting. But now I'm among friends, so let me talk to you about George Soros. And I'm not going to try to make you feel badly for the left, but Alex said something very interesting recently. He was talking about, did you guys see the thing he did from his yard this past, like 3 days ago, Sunday or something like that? Where he was talking about, I used to live in Austin, so I know there's a lot of hippies. There's Hippie Hollow, in fact, by Barton. So he was talking about how the left used to be in favor of free speech. You remember that? Remember how the left used to like free speech? They used to embrace it. Remember when the ACLU was, I'm old enough to remember when they were defending Illinois Nazis in Skokie? Does anybody else remember that? That's what the left used to do. So what happened to the left? Alex, actually, we were talking about this the other day. He asked me, do you want to know what happened? George Soros. Let me explain. This is very important to understand. It's going to make you feel this much pity for the left, but I want you to think about it. What happened is George Soros realized the way to buy off the left is to literally buy off the left. If you look into his history, one of the things that he did when he got started, he would literally go into a country and give money to every single NGO, non-government organization, civil society group. He would write a check to everybody. And so let me ask you a question. Do you consider, just yell, do you consider George Soros a funder of socialists? Yes? Well, let me ask you this. Is George Soros a hardcore capitalist as well? The answer is yes, he is. He's a guy, think about it. Think about what the left believes in. Is a guy who's a hedge fund manager their hero? Does that make sense? Also, look at the Atlantic Council. You know what the Atlantic Council is, right? It's one of the groups that has been fomenting war. It's a think tank here in Washington, D.C. Soros is one of the biggest funders of the military. And ask yourself this. All the stuff Roger was talking about, Trump's successes, I agree with him. And every one of those successes, the economy, immigration, everything he's doing, the media attacks him at every possible turn. Correct? Let me ask you, what's the one time they don't attack Donald Trump? when he shot missiles into Syria a year ago. Remember that? Remember Fareed Zakaria came out, Dan Jones came out. Oh, he's now a president. He's acting presidential. Did you notice that? You notice the media hates Trump, but now the people like Nikki Haley, not a fan, John Bolton, not a fan, right, are trying to push Trump into literal war, a hot war, because Robert Mueller has made it impossible for Trump to...
We're going to set you up once you turn war.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. And so, notice the media's reaction? Silence. They love it. They love this. Why is that? Because George Soros, remember when the left used to be in favor of free speech? Remember when the left used to be against war?
Yeah.
Remember Iraq? I was in Austin for the Iraq War. I was out there at the protests at the Capitol. That was the left, right?
Yeah.
That's who it was. What's happened to them? Why are they jumping in on the gun issue now and ignoring the FBI's failure? Ask yourself that. Because they have been bought out by Soros. When we got sued on this, I went through, and the group that's suing us, the lawyers with the Voting Rights Institute at Georgetown, if you look at their advisory board, I went through and I did the research. Every single one of them is at groups that are funded by Soros. Like who? Like the ACLU. The ACLU used to be in favor of free speech, but now they're not allowed to. Do you know why? They want to pick up that check. George Soros funded them for, I think, 10 million, could be 50 million. It was one of them, it was Southern Poverty Law Center got 10, and the ACLU got 50, and I can't remember which one. But 6 one, half dozen the other. That's what happened. The left has been bought out. Now, the effect of this is you don't see any resistance to the war. Where's the resistance to the war coming from? Rand Paul, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Where is the resistance to the arms deal with Saudi Arabia, where they behead people in the public square?
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. That's it. And so I want
That calls for his death.
No, that's right. That's right. So what's happened here is a very dangerous situation. But Soros, who, by the way, is a genius. If you're not aware of this, George Soros is a genius. He's an economic genius. He's developed theories of the economy that are brilliant. One of that's reflexivity and stuff like that. Where he's just
They're all smart psychopaths.
no, exactly. That's not a compliment. But he is smart. And what he figured out was he could dismantle the opposition to the war and to his ability. How did he make his money?
The ultimate fascist not runs the left.
And manipulated currency. How else do you do it? You and I can't manipulate currency because we can't take down a government. But he can, and he's figured it out. So that's what's going on. And the reason I got to say this, Alex, I was watching one of your videos from 2008, around the time I was researching. And you just go back, watch what Alex Jones was saying in 2008. He was talking about globalism well before Donald Trump. I'm just saying, I'm not knocking the president. But you were talking about globalism. You were talking about the fake split between the left and the right. George Soros has figured this out. And he's funded the left, right? And he's got them to hate the wrong parts of the right, the good, decent parts of the right. Meanwhile, he's funding the war machine, and meanwhile, he's funding his own ability to distribute currency. So the reason they don't like Alex is two things. One, he's fun, and he's able to get to an audience that's someone boring, like me in many cases. But I'm just saying. But no, Alex is more entertaining. But number two, he knows his stuff. There is a level of deep research. If you listen to the stuff Alex is talking about, and like I said, he has been on understanding the long-term implications. Because I guarantee you, the other thing he knows is, I'll leave you with this. Do you know where Soros learned a lot of this stuff from? Do you know who else learned to spread around money and control the narrative? The CIA. That's exactly who. And that's exactly where he learned a lot of it from. And a guy like Alex has been taking on the CIA and groups like the Council on Foreign Relations and understanding the level of this history for a very long time. But the reason they hate him is because he has all that depth, but he also makes it enjoyable. So once again, thanks a lot for Alex for having me. Keep studying, right? Keep learning. Don't let anyone shut you up. Don't be afraid. Don't let anyone shut you down. Thanks a lot, everybody.
But let's not forget Lou Dobbs, who I think is just as good as Sean Hannity, or just as good as Tucker Carlson, or any of the awesome folks. I mean, Fox News, they're trying to get rid of us. There are some patriots on there, Lord Ingram, you name it. But it was Donna's Room Corsi, you go back to one more speaker, who's had 3 #1 best-selling books. He used to go on every week. Back when Lou Dobbs had 10 million viewers a night. Remember back when CNN had 10 million viewers? They don't have that whole thing now. They fired Lou Dobbs because they were exposing globalism and corporations taking over America and lowering wages and adapting the gap. So of course he's coming up in a few minutes. But I ran into a fellow who Ivan Ralkin, who I've seen before. I know him somehow. I don't know. But I know the Republicans are trying to block good patriots from running for Congress, local government, Senate, you name it. Ivan Ralkin. He's going to come up here, but I just see he's a good patriot. He's an Army veteran, and he's running for Senate. They're trying to block him off of the ballot. So I want to give him a few minutes to talk to folks. So come on up here, brother. We appreciate it.
Wireless mic? No?
No.
I'll do my best. Can everybody hear me back there? All right, so who knows who this current senator in Virginia is? What is it? All right, so who wants to bring the pain to who? Bring the pain. Yep, exactly. So here's the deal. My name is Ivan Ralkin. For those of you that have never heard of me, by show of hands, most of you. I'm running for the United States Senate, Virginia, but a lot of people think that I'm out of the race completely. Here's a little bit about myself. Green Beret Commander, last 20 years I've served our country honorably, countering ISIS, Taliban, MS-13, Russian aggression in English, Spanish, Russian, Arabic, and French across the globe. Now I want to bring that back and fight those that are against what we stand for here in the United States. Who? Exactly. So, here's what's going on. Last week, actually about 10 days ago, on March 29th, is when the deadline was in order for us to file 10,000 signatures statewide in Virginia and 400 per congressional district, which my team was able to collect 12,600 signatures. We submitted that to the party for review. They disqualified last minute a few signatures that were basically verified in a database that was a defunct old database. So we're now fighting this in order to be able to get ourselves on the ballot. Granted, there are 3 other Republicans on the ballot, great Americans, great patriots, but I just want to give you a little bit more about my story. So last year when I started my exploratory phase of this Senate run, I decided to do something for the veterans that, my community that I come from. And what I did was run 22 miles a day for 81 days nonstop, hitting every single county and city in Virginia in order to what? 22 represents the 22 veterans that die by suicide every day. So that's what I'm fighting for, is our veterans, the 800,000 veterans in Virginia.
God bless you.
Also, thank you. Also nationwide. Also, a lot of people don't talk about this, but I come from a new legal immigrant family in this United States, coming from the former Soviet Union. And there are about 519,000 new legal immigrants that vote in Virginia, and most of them believe in right of center conservative values, and they are underrepresented. I've done some interviews where we talk about how the silent majority doesn't only exist with the demographic of this room, but it also exists in the new immigrants that are here in this country that stood in line, put everything on the line to get here, with nothing on their back like my father, learned English, assimilated, and then became respectable, professional, contributing citizens to our country. And that's the fight, like I said before, I'm not going to hit this too many times, but there are a lot of immigrants in this country that spent their money, got here legitimately, and they don't like it when somebody gets in line, looks back, actually jumps the line, looks back and says, "Look at you, idiot. You're standing in line. Meanwhile, I can get here and I can get for free citizenship. I can get all these different programs that are given to us because why? We have senators such as who? That we need to get out of office, and I just need you guys to help me give me a chance to get on the ballot. The way you can help out is We're going to need to file a court case in federal district court in Alexandria to be able to take it to the Board of Elections in the state of Virginia to allow us to do a recount. They just recently denied our appeal ability to be able to do a recount. So if you want to help out and support, Raiklin.com is the website. It's RAIKLIN. And if you want to talk afterwards, I'd be more than happy to talk. Alex, thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak about the home. God bless.
I wanted to tell you because I follow the races around the country and I see his name, what he was doing. Whether he wins, loses, or draws, it doesn't matter. He got involved. And that's how we keep winning. As long as we all stay involved, stay focused, they cannot stop us. Because we're promoting freedom, and that's a lot better than all this tyranny around the world. We'll win when we show up. That's the bottom line. Now, Dr. Jerome Corsi, talking about globalism. Corsi wrote a book on that. The globalists call themselves globalists. They want a world government where they're tax exempt, above the law, have diplomatic immunity, and then use socialism countrywide to control us. Then the offshore corporations make a deal with the socialist and communist owners like China to exploit the people. So that's what globalism is. It's total slavery, reinvented, brought back. So let's talk about what's happening right now. Let's talk about the attack on free speech. I want to get his take on the unprecedented attacks on attorney-client privilege and the president's lawyer and the Mueller raid and Rosenstein. They are trying to nullify our election. And that's the ultimate form of an attack on free speech. Dr. Jerome Corsi, Infowars.com, DC News Head. Come on here.
It's a great honor and pleasure to be here today with Alex Jones, with Infowars. And this is my second year, and these are the best 2 years of my life. Thank you, Alex. Infowars is so threatening to the mainstream media because it's the most disruptive form of media that has been brought forward to challenge the mainstream media. If you watch the mainstream media, it all looks alike.
Yeah.
It all sounds alike. It has all the same patterns to it. You know,
They're talking points.
they're talking points. NPR, I think they go to the famous NPR school to learn how to talk like that on the radio.
Yeah.
They all sound the same. Well, the reason is because they are all corporate, CIA-fed, Mockingbird media. And that's where Alex Jones comes in and disrupts it, breaks the model, tells everybody the truth, fights. And Alex and I have been together for years. I think my first interview with Alex went back to about 2005.
It's almost 20 years.
And this, in this period of time has been one where Alex, I found early on, was a champion for fighting for American freedom, for fighting for the Constitution. And we didn't have enough fighting for the Constitution, and now we've got millions, including you. And the reason Alex Jones is vilified is because the mainstream media is afraid. They're losing viewers by the millions, while Alex Jones is gaining viewers by the millions. And they're seeing it happen. Now, I want to talk to you about two things. I've got at 5:30, I'm going to be with Owen, broadcasting, which will be great. I want to talk to you about two things today, about Donald Trump and the Mueller investigation, and Zuckerberg's testimony today. The Mueller investigation last night entered into a criminal phase when they burst into Michael Cohen's office. Michael Cohen's a lawyer. He and Donald Trump have lawyer-client privilege. They have confidentiality between the two.
In the Constitution.
In the Constitution. And that's breached. Now that was breached by a Justice Department that's acting like thugs. They started with Manafort when they burst into his home early in the morning. He and his wife were in bed. They rifle through everything, take what they want, don't explain anything. They stopped Ted Malloch, Professor Malloch from Oxford, an American citizen, been on the show many times. been with Alex in studio, a gentleman who would easily have cooperated with Mueller. But instead, as thugs, they broke in. He was vacation. He's coming back to the United States into Logan with his wife to celebrate Easter with her family in Ohio. Mueller's thugs grab him at the airport, throw him in a room, question him, basically take his telephone away from him, and slap him with an injunction, or a subpoena. He has to show up in the grand jury. This is the way thugs behave.
Yeah.
This is not the way the United States justice system should operate.
Right.
This is the way criminals operate.
That's right.
And Mueller's down to wanting to prosecute Donald Trump for something he did when he was 21 years old, or maybe he ordered Russian salad dressing for lunch. Russian collusion is not a crime. There is no crime, Russian collusion. Okay, but the deep state, which I'm identifying is in the Department of Justice, having formed a coup d'etat plan, treason in the FBI. I mean, think about that for a minute. It's supposed to be the Justice Department. It's gone to commit treason. We know that from the emails we're getting from Strozek and Page. We know that from McCabe being forced to fire in disgrace. We know that for the fact that there is a special inside prosecutor in Utah who's been appointed to examine, along with Horowitz, all the information about the Democrats and the deep state in corruption.
So they can bury it.
Well, I mean, look at it. I think if you study it, there are probably 20 people in the Department of Justice who have not resigned, but have been demoted. Every one of those people, I believe, is cutting a deal.
Yeah. Agreed.
There's probably 20 more people who have left. They're the first targets to go under indictment. And there will be indictments.
Yes!
Today everybody says, the White House is under siege. Donald Trump is going to be, this is it for Donald Trump.
No way.
The prostitutes are going to get him. First of all, American people don't care about the prostitutes. Donald Trump wasn't elected because he was a saint.
Right?
Donald Trump was elected because he believes in the Constitution. He didn't have to do this job.
That's right.
I wanted you to know that about 3 years ago, and this I'd like everybody to kind of hear, even the back.
You're all be quiet.
About 3 years ago, a group of generals came to me, and it was explained to me they were ready to conduct a coup d'etat. They were ready to move Barack Obama from office with military force. And then a few weeks later, I got another call and said that they were reconsidering. You know why they were reconsidering?
No, Donald Trump might run.
Because they talked to Donald Trump.
All right.
And Trump agreed that he would run.
Right.
And they agreed that if he would run, they would conduct their coup d'etat as a legitimate process, rooting out the traitors within government.
Yeah.
And that pact between the military and Donald Trump has held. As we've been interpreting and watching, and Alex has been following QAnon,
Yes.
QAnon is military intelligence.
Yep.
And close to Trump. And the intelligence we're getting that we've explained on InfoWars really is a lot of the inside script. Now, everybody says Donald Trump is going to lose, he's going to be out of office, he's going to be impeached. You watch CNN, MSNBC, they're throwing a party today, and all the 20 people watching them across the nation are very good. Donald Trump will not be removed from office.
Praise God.
He will not be removed from office. And the counterattack is going to launch. One or two facts that could change everything. Get a report from Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, who details the corruption within the Department of Justice. Donald Trump is right. Maybe we should tear down the FBI building and start over again.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at the depth of this corruption, it's pervasive. Since George H.W. Bush, the bureaucrats who stayed, including these SES bureaucrats, who are there mostly permanently, they're globalists. They don't believe in America anymore. They think they're smarter than America, smarter than the Founding Fathers. We are revised the Constitution. They are, there's a very simple word that describes what they are. Traitors.
Yep. Yes.
Traitors. It's a capital crime. And I'm going to predict to you here today that when the tables turn, Donald Trump will be invoking military tribunals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And even Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are going to be facing treason charges. It will not end, and Donald Trump will have the courage to do that. He doesn't need the job. Donald Trump has a vision of the future in which he continues to play a role. And he's seen that vision, and he's had that vision with him for decades. And it's all, every time it looks to me, I've said this about Donald Trump, I've known him for decades. I said, Donald Trump always looks like he's going to lose until just before he wins. He's always looking like he's 1 inch from being, losing all his money. 1 inch from losing this deal or that deal. Everything Donald Trump has done in his life has been a success. And this will be true.
Yes.
And he needs our help. This is where the InfoWars army out there, the InfoWars followers, the InfoWars faithful, are the backbone of the Trump train movement.
All
and
right.
Trump knows it too. He knows it. He understands it. Donald Trump is following everything that's being done, following what Alex is doing, following what you're doing. And in the final game of this, I think Donald Trump will reduce the bureaucracy. I'd say 95% will be good. Maybe 100%. The bureaucracy isn't specified in the Constitution. There's no discussion. There's no article about the bureaucracy, which means it can all be removed. Fire them all.
Exactly.
You know? And I think what we can have is a rebirth, as we say, of freedom in this country. Now, I want to make a couple, I've got to keep my eye on because I've got 5:30 with Nolan. But I want to say 2 or 3 things about Zuckerberg. I'm going to start publishing. I'm going to start publishing in InfoWars at the end of this week. Someone has come forth as a Silicon Valley insider anonymous and has been writing me extensive emails, which I've now been able to validate. And the story of Zuckerberg and the others is this. Facebook, all of the major ones, Twitter, YouTube, Google, every single one of them, the creation of the CIA. They were funded by the CIA, and they were there. And by the way, they are all considered dispensable. Zuckerberg may not realize it, but he's in the ejection seat. The button will be pushed and he'll be ejected out. But the real power in Silicon Valley is the infrastructure of the internet. It's the oracles. It's the Microsofts, the Sun Microsoft systems. These are the tracks, the railroad tracks in which the internet runs. The bridges, the infrastructure. And the people who are really controlling Silicon Valley are the Larry Ellisons. These are the people you know less about because they're not the front men. You know, Zuckerberg is dispensable. Eric Schmidt is dispensable. Google is dispensable. They'll just replace it with another one. Because the real godfathers are the Larry Ellisons and the others. And who funded Larry Ellison? The CIA, the military-industrial complex, moving in with Lockheed and the others wanting the creation of a new generation of electronic hardware for the military. And in the process, and that started going back into the 50s. What happened is along the way, they realized with social media, they could create something where we would all give them all of our information freely about everything about ourselves. People even post pictures of themselves naked, which they keep forever. Every click you make is going right into the intelligence agencies. And then that data is being profiled and given to the New World Order. Sold for money, for advertising and marketing. And by the way, Zuckerberg may have his own rules and his own way to protect privacy, but don't for a minute think that they aren't still collecting the information. They've got it all. It's archived. It's every phone call you've ever made, every email you've ever made. And people are stupid enough to put these devices in their homes, which can record everything they say. Facebook can track you even if you're not a member of Facebook. They can all do all the tracking anywhere you appear on the internet, and that stuff is archived forever. What we've got to do is we've got to reclaim the internet.
Yes.
We've got to have an internet Bill of Rights, as it were, to oppose First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment. We've got to do this through Congress, and I'm here to tell you that before Donald Trump is done, the internet will be 100% regulated, or it will be broken up. Because Donald Trump understands the threat to our freedom. The threat to our freedom every one of us face with this information is so massive control that it never occurred to George Orwell or Aldous Huxley that this could happen. But I'm here to say that in conclusion of all this, they say in conclusion that the book I've just written, in Killing the Deep State, it ends, in the end, Donald Trump wins.
Yeah.
In the end, Alex Jones wins. In the end, InfoWars wins. And never forget that in the end, God wins.
By the way, we can spend this room another hour if we got any questions. All you involved. Let me tell you. What Dr. Corsi was saying is totally true. And it's not like something conspiracy. The CIA and DARPA created the internet in the 60s and 70s. Google was an extension of NASA Space Command. And the left put all their people in charge of it. And now if they think they're going to take the internet over and use it to destroy America, there is that whole vein of government involved with it that set it up. It doesn't mean the government's good or bad. It means that all the things that have been hidden are now basically coming to light. And this country is in an absolute fight for its future and for any type of free speech we'll ever have. So that's why it's so incredible to be here with you now and be discussing this, because what Dr. Corsi told you is the big inside baseball. They don't want you to know that. Globalist, leftist criminals that burrowed in to DARPA and the CIA and the NSA, they now work for multinational corporations. And they believe they're going to break America's will and bring in their whole globalist, socialist utopia. But patriots in the private sector and inside government are striking back. And that's the fight we're now in. right now. Jack Posobiec, another great patriot. Coach Good to have you here, my friend.
Coach, there's so much going on. I don't even know where to start, but I'd like to start, and I think there's a few folks that might join me in a little bit of a slogan that I didn't come up with it before. You folks may have heard of it, though. It's just 3 letters. It goes, USA! 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 Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's one of the great things about all of us. You know, you look at the coalition that Donald Trump put together in 2016, the vast movement of people that he put together. It's not all conservatives, it's not all Republicans. We've got libertarians, we've got civil libertarians, we've got people that were Democrats that realize that they've been sold a bill of goods by a 2-party duopoly, as my friend Roger likes to say, here in Washington, D.C., because they realized that the 2 parties were driving towards the same place in the same car. It just looked a little different depending on what color you were looking on one side or the other. So, you know, red or blue, basically. So, what Donald Trump did was he brought together so many people, libertarians, populists, conservatives, nationalists, right? And Donald Trump said this on the campaign trail. He said, there isn't anything wrong with being proud of your country. There isn't anything wrong with being proud of our culture of Americanism. I spoke earlier today at the National Press Club, and I brought up the U.S. Constitution. I actually read words that were written, believe it or not, by Eleanor Roosevelt, talking about the Bill of Rights, and talking about how the Bill of Rights is threatened by totalitarianism. Now in her time, in the 1940s, after World War II, that totalitarianism was the USSR, the Soviet state, communism, creeping communism that was supposedly trying to come into our country. Well, folks, I think it may have. Not in terms of, you know, Soviet Russian influence or anything like that, but in terms of the ideas of shutting down dissent, the ideas of shutting down speech that one side doesn't like, which essentially turns us all into a one-party state. Is that what any of you want?
No.
I didn't think so. No, we want diversity of opinion, we want diversity of thought, we want to let 1,000 flowers bloom. That is what we need in our country. We've got a guy literally right down the street right now, named Mark Zuckerberg, who's talking about how he never did anything to suppress speech. He never did anything to ban people. He never did anything to shut down conservative speech. And no. Facebook isn't reading any of your messages. We're not looking into your WhatsApp. Does any of you actually believe him? Does anyone think that Mark Zuckerberg should come over here and when he's done with Congress, he should answer to us?
Yes.
I can think of a couple of questions for Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not going to go into that right now. But we need accountability. And that's something that's been lost in our country, that's something that's been lost in our institutions. How many of you, raise your hand, and this be honest, how many of you before all of this started actually trusted the FBI? There's a few will admit it. How many of you do not trust them now? Right, and so this is a problem in our country. How can we have a country where we have people who don't trust our institutions? We don't trust the people that are supposed to be watching out for crimes, that are supposed to be going after corruption, because we've seen this time and time again, and we saw it just again yesterday with the raid of Donald Trump, our president's personal lawyer, by the FBI. Over what they claim, I would say, is over financial contributions in kind that may not have been registered. I actually did some digging on this. So they're saying that Stormy Daniels' payment, we're supposed to believe that Stormy Daniels' payment was $150,000, and it was unannounced or unregistered donation, right? Does anyone want to wager a guess how much money that Barack Obama took during his first campaign that was unlawful, that was over the maximum, or wasn't recorded?
500 million.
Pretty close. A little less than that. It's over $8 million, and they went to court over this. $8 million. But of course, at that time, it was the Obama Justice Department going after the Obama campaign, and they said, hey, don't worry about it. Just pay a little fine. No big deal. When we look at this, the same standard applied to Donald Trump's lawyer. He's raided. All of the stuff confiscated. His cell phone confiscated. His laptop confiscated. The whole idea of attorney-client privilege
destroyed.
So why is the Justice Department so bad, though?
The Justice Department has a lot of people in it that's formed with people at the FBI, essentially a clique. Now, this was a clique that didn't start out political. It started out just for power. People like McCabe, people like Comey, people like Rosenstein, Strzok, Page were kind of been all in on this. They wanted power. But then they realized that the way to get to that was through exonerating Hillary Clinton. They gave her a complete free pass over her email server with lots of classified information on it. They gave her a complete free pass for the Clinton Foundation, the same type of thing that Trump is under this, and then it was compromised. It was compromised essentially because of the Weiner situation. When his laptop was found by NYPD, it was found by the New York field office of the FBI. They said, look, if you don't bring this stuff up before the election, we're going to have a problem. We're going to go to the press ourselves. And that's why Comey, at the very tail end of the election, had to admit that Hillary's campaign investigation was reopened. The email investigation was reopened. Okay? Now, fast forwarding, we've now seen the text messages come out between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. Those text messages set off a chain reaction that's only now starting to be understood. Because those were talking about the leaks. It wasn't just about the bias, it was actually talking about the leaks to the Wall Street Journal, specifically Devin Barrett. They said, McCabe told us to do this. They said, it's not our fault, it was McCabe's fault. And look, we got the text messages to prove it. McCabe had said he had never authorized it. So now they went back to McCabe and said, excuse me, you lied. You lied to federal agents. And how did that work out for General Flynn, supposedly, right? So now McCabe is in a situation, and it's actually kind of an interesting setup, because now McCabe is saying, well, hold on a second. I was authorized by Comey, and I've got emails. So we may even actually see a situation where the excrement is rolling upstream for once, and it goes from Page and Strzok to Rosenstein, or excuse me, to McCabe, who may now be rolling on Comey, who's getting ready for his big George Stephanopoulos interview later today. But doing some breaking news that some people may have heard. The president, and this just came out a few minutes ago, the president tonight at the White House is having dinner with Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz. He wants to bring Dershowitz in, and I'd love to get your take on it, but when you have a chance. But he wants to bring, Dershowitz has been out there very, very vocally talking about the president has a right that he is demanded to perform under Article 2 of the Constitution. He's in charge of the executive branch of the government, and any actions taken by officials under that branch are in his purview. If he wants to fire them, he can do so. If he wants to shut down investigations, he can do so. These are all legal acts. The president's meeting with him right now, from what I hear, and will be having dinner with him later tonight. So, folks, Donald Trump understands that this thing needs to be over with. Because it's been going on for almost 2 years now. Remember, it goes back to July 2016. That's what Comey testified, July 2016. Almost 2 years, this witch hunt. And we've been given no specific evidence about Russia collusion. And so what they've done is, instead of shutting it down, instead of saying, well, there's no more collusion, so we're going to go, no, they've moved the goalposts. They've widened the probe to find other things, going after stuff that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I'm waiting for them to go after, Donald Trump's birth certificate and his birth records and say, well, we're not so sure if he was born here. Maybe he was born somewhere else. So the president understands that this is getting in the way of his agenda, especially when we face real threats from North Korea. We've faced real threats from China, which I'll talk about because I lived there for 2 years and I understand what the Chinese are building towards. They want us to look at Russia, they want us to look at so many other things, but believe me, China is the real threat facing America in the long term and facing America today. China understands, and look, when I was in China, people would tell me, I spent 2 years of my life there with Chinese, amazing people. They don't want to destroy us, but they want to defeat us. They want us to be where they were about 10, 15 years ago. They want the US dollar to be, 10 US dollars to one Chinese dollar. And the one thing, and I'll say this, because it always stuck with me. I had a Chinese, sort of a business partner, and he said, listen, Jack, one day, American babies are going to be adopted by Chinese families. And that's the way it's going to go. And he didn't say that's what we want. He said that's what's going to happen. And that's shocking. That really shocked me. And I said, I don't want the U.S. to ever be in that kind of position. You always think of those as the impoverished countries. You think of those as, countries where you get paid for that, you get some charity money for that, and so that helps, maybe give up your child for a better life. Well, I don't want my kids, and I'm having my kid here in 5 weeks, all right? And I don't want my child to grow up in a country that's going on the decline. And that is why I spent all of 2016 working my butt off for Donald J. Trump. And that's why I spent all of 2017 and I spent all of 2018 and as long as it takes. As long as it takes. Thank you so much.
He didn't do his work for Trump campaign naval intelligence, but about a year ago, the liberals figured out he was a naval intelligence in China, and they go, Trump tweets the naval intelligence guy stuff. He can't be a naval intelligence because you can't have the president supporting somebody who's a naval intelligence. I mean, if the president supports you, you can't be a naval intelligence. That shows how sold out our government is, that if you support Trump, they're going to kick you out of the military. So it's an amazing time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just blessed to be here, blessed to be covering this. This is the fight for the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. All the major amendments are happening right now. So I'm going to let Millie Weaver come up here. Whoever a question for, whether it's Jack Sobek or whether it is Roger Stone, wherever it is, Millie Weaver is going to host the Q&A. I'll come up with a question for me. Millie Weaver, host the Q&A. Whoever has questions, come on, take over.
I stood up.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up for questions and answers. So we have a microphone over here. So if you guys have
And in the middle.
over here,
The middle.
right there. All right, so it looks like we have a question right here.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here. I think we all agree that Trump is a historical anomaly that wasn't really meant to happen. And there's discussion that Alex and Mr. Stone, Roger Stone, had about basically street fighting tactics versus long-term strategy. And so my question for Roger Stone and for Alex Jones are, outside of street fighting tactics, outside of short-term street fighting kind of guerrilla tactics, what's the long game? And who has the long game? And I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I'd like to throw in one more caveat to that.
Is that a question for me?
It's a question for both of you.
Listen,
can I
okay.
Sir, please? Can you also include in that, how do you work with institutional Christian organizations in your long game?
Sure. Listen, I believe in the American people. I believe in humanity. And so I'm just putting the facts out and hope people take action. We are going to fight for this country's future. We're fighting against some globalists that have bet on China. They're trying to sell us out. So I'm simply here trying to believe in you and hope that you take action. But my long game is just to tell the truth and promote Americana and free market and what has made humanity great. That's all I'm doing. It's nothing original. I'm trying to reboot America. And so you ask, what is the long game? What is the big victory? I think it is just being individuals, telling the truth, exposing what's happening, not being intimidated, and taking action. So I think it's a great question you asked, but the answer is really simple. There's no big establishment group that's going to save us. It's us individually taking action. That's my answer. Millie, Roger Stone, Jack, anybody wants to come up here? What's your take on how do we save America? What is the big fight? First Amendment, Second Amendment, 10th Amendment. What do we do?
Common sense, truth, and logic.
Yep.
Common sense, truth, and logic.
Well, what I'd say is we have to first preserve our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, the founding principles that we have God-given rights, meaning we don't get our rights from a government, we get our rights from God. That's right, we get our rights from God. As long as we can preserve that and work towards those principles, I think that's great. All right, let's get another question right here. Okay, Roger Stone wants to address that question a little bit.
This is a simple point, but one that you cannot underestimate. As most of you know, I was banned for life on Twitter last year. Now, the rules governing your conduct on Twitter are somewhat vague. Essentially, it's all right for Keith Olbermann to threaten the violent assassination of Donald Trump, but if I hurt Jake Tapper's feelings, I have to be banned for life. There's one action that every one of you can take every single day. And it may seem small, but it isn't. When you see a link of a story or a video on InfoWars or Daily Caller or Breitbart or anywhere that spreads the story of freedom, when you see a story that catches your fancy and is in an area which you're interested in, take that link and post it to your social media. Because you see, they can censor us, but they can't censor all of us. You become an army of one. You become a warrior, an info warrior. Take our links and spread them. It's cut, paste, 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 until your hands hurt. It works. Thank you.
Look, it's simple. You're trying to take the country into slavery. Either fight or become slaves. It's your choice.
All right, so let's take a question from this gentleman over here.
All right, I have two questions for Roger Stone, but to give full disclosure and perspective, I was born here in the swamp, and welcome to my hometown, Alex and everybody. Who else was born in this area and raised here?
Hey, cheers!
All right, so it's not so bad here. I'm still trying to stay under the radar. My father worked in the CIA. He was a psychiatrist and evaluated agents. His teacher was Carol Quigley at Georgetown. And when you're born here, you come across a lot of these kind of experiences. But the question I have for Roger, the two questions. One is one other thing I would say, I'm probably the only person here who was at a talk by Daniel Ellsberg on Sunday, and now I'm here with Alex Jones on Tuesday. He talked at Bethesda. He was called the father of whistleblowers. He actually is, on the left. But what I wanted to say, what Alex mentioned about the paradigm of the left and the right, it's really, there's only about 10% that we need to fight. And we really need to be open to try to bring in people on the left and the right. But I'll move on to the question.
What's your question?
President Trump, and I think we need to say President Trump, not Trump. But anyway, President Trump, what do you think is going to happen? I don't feel worried about him with Syria. That's my feeling, my gut feeling. But in terms of what he's going to do, and then one quick follow-up.
First of all, let me address the question of the left and right, because I become convinced that the divide between left and right is a Hegelian device to distract us from the fact that there's a ruling elite in this world, the globalists, who have no ideology other than power and money and control.
Exactly. There's many of the left
and therefore libertarians on the right and libertarians on the left, conservatives and progressives, if they would stop and think, have more in common than they think.
Yes.
So, to address your question, I've known Donald Trump for 39 years. He's a patriot. He's a populist. He is a man who operates not on the basis of sophisticated polling or focus groups. He's not out there trying to find out what to say in order to be popular. He just tells you what he really thinks. And the chips fall where they may. He's an American. He believes in Americana. He believes in American exceptionalism. Now, unfortunately, I also think that he came to this job with enormous business experience and incredible public relations and media savvy, but he is not an experienced politician. And while that has many, many pluses, it has certain negatives. Contrast him with, say, Lyndon Johnson, who came to the presidency after being Senate Majority Leader for 10 years and 3 years as Vice President, until he orchestrated the murder of John F. Kennedy. Or compare that to Richard Nixon, who spent 8 years as vice president and got to see how the government, the national government, works up close under President Dwight Eisenhower. Now you have a man who came to Washington without this finite understanding of the system, but like Ronald Reagan, had these big picture values that he would not violate. And therefore, I think sadly, in some cases, on the basis of bad advice, he has surrounded himself with people who in many cases do not share his worldview, do not share his philosophy of government, do not share his plan for reforming America. I don't want to name any names, H.R. Pastor. I don't want to point out some of these bad appointments, Rex Tillerson. But now you see the president getting his sea legs and starting to build a team of people that he can rely on, people who will reflect his views. Now, I know there are some here who have been critical of John Bolton because of his prior service. I think that is an error. John Bolton is a capable operative. He's actually a peace through straight Reagan conservative. Yes, he served the Bushes because the Bush was the boss. But the boss now is Donald J. Trump, and he will serve Donald Trump ably, and he will reflect the president's worldview, not his worldview. Now, as far as Syria is concerned, how many times can they pull the same trick? They just did this a couple months ago. So, I just saw a great cartoon where Putin says to Assad, so you have the rebels on the run. You're winning the war. What's your next plan? He says, I think I'll gas my own people to bring the entire international community down on me. It makes no sense. Here's what I've learned in 40 years of American politics. People don't do things that aren't in their own best interest. And we're going to learn, just as we learned about the previous gas attack in Syria, that Assad did not do this. It's a provocation. Is it coincidental that this attack happens only days after the president says publicly he's prepared to withdraw American troops from Syria? How much more obvious can you get? Thank you.
That's a great answer. All right, so let's go to this gentleman right here.
Hello, my name is Carl Gallivan. I'm a retired special agent for the U.S. Customs Service. I was a 9/11 responder in November of that year, helped to go to the rubble of World Trade Center 7. The official story of 9/11 is not true. I give you a domain reference, and idealiveson.net. And I would like to suggest a date, a time, and location for restoring the Republic, for reviving the Constitution. And it would be June 10th, maybe this year, maybe another year, on the public terraces of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts at noon. John Kennedy, on June 10th, 1963, gave a speech at American University calling for America to pursue a strategy for peace, for reconciliation among the nations. It may have very well led to his assassination, but it's a location where 1 million Americans, 1 million of those who listen to Alex Jones, could simply converge on the public terraces of the John F. Kennedy Center on that day, June 10th this year, maybe a future year, and by peaceably assembling, petition by their presence for transparency on issues of JFK to 9/11, also for seeking peaceful reconciliation among the nations. Okay,
well, thank you for that information. Do you have a question for anyone?
Is it a good idea to peaceably assemble?
Yes. Well, I guess the question's for me. Yes, it's a good idea to peaceably assemble. That's what we're doing here today. We're doing a damn good job of it. We're having fun, we're talking, we're having some wonderful drinks, and we have people who have amazing questions coming up next. So let's get to that.
I'm going to follow up on some comments earlier about the president.
I can't hear you.
I want to follow up on some comments made earlier about our president. We have civil rights of this great man in this country before. I'll take you all back to the late 1800s. And reference today, we have Facebook, Google, gazillion billionaires, people that we can't possibly stand up against with their money.
The other great president I refer to is Theodore Roosevelt, who stood up against the Aspens, the J.P. Morgans, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies, the Fords, when they were taking over all of our industry and turning it into monopolies. I would like to ask everybody today, and our distinguished panel, to address the possibility to join me to beat the drum, to break up Facebook under the antitrust laws into baby Facebooks that will not censor us, will not shut us up, and will not shut it up, put us in jail, and ensure our free speech.
I think that's a good idea. That's something to entertain, breaking them up with antitrust laws. I've also personally entertained the idea myself of essentially adding into the Constitution the inability to discriminate against somebody based on their political affiliation. Currently, right now, it's unconstitutional to discriminate against somebody based on their race, their sex, their religion. You can technically discriminate against somebody based on their political affiliation in pretty much all states except for California and New York. So I feel like in today, what we've been experiencing, how conservatives have been being purged from the internet, from social media sites, I think now's the time to start having discussions about including political affiliation to that constitutional protection, that group where you cannot discriminate against somebody based on their political affiliation. Let's go to this gentleman right here.
InfoWars is one of the few sites that will cover the vaccine safety issue.
I can't hear you. Can you speak up?
InfoWars is one of the few sites that cover vaccine safety. The vaccine issue is being ignored by the mainstream media.
Okay.
Do we need a constitutional amendment to give people the right to their own medical treatments?
Okay, so what was your question?
The right to try. An amendment how do we give people rights over their own medical treatments, particularly involving vaccinations for their children?
Well, technically, I think Roger Stone has a way he wants to come up and answer that question. I will just say this. We have the right over our body. What they're doing by trying to force vaccines on us is unconstitutional. And here's Roger Stone who's going to answer that.
Let me address it. My colleague Rob Dill is here, also done amazing work on this. The United States government has paid out almost $3.4 billion to individuals who have been damaged by vaccines.
I'll get up there.
Every year, the special court, in essence the vaccination court, publishes a report outlining the cases on which they have paid out. Now, for the first time, they are not going to post that information online, the first year since the court was formed. President Trump is championing an amendment that would allow you to opt out of vaccinations on the basis of religious belief or personal conscience. And therein lies the answer. We're not opposed to vaccinations. We're opposed to what's in them that is making people sick.
I've done a thing or two about vaccines. Having 4 kids, I decided to really do my research, and I've probably forgotten more than I know now about the issue. I will say this, there's no reason to give a young child a hepatitis B vaccine at 2 days of age, because I don't know any 2-day-old child who is an intravenous drug user or having anal sex, and that's how you get hepatitis B. I mean, it's scientifically documented. Also, another thing that I like to say to trolls online is, hey, go get your flu shot. I prescribe them to trolls regularly. But this year's flu shot was one of the worst, and what doctors were finding, I know that more people were dying after taking it than they've ever seen. Doctors are reporting this all over. I don't have the specific articles in front of me right now, but I do remember checking that out. One thing, Richard Pan, the doctor the senator, state senator of California, who wants all children to take vaccines before they go to school, has now sponsored a new bill where everybody has to have fact checkers and things in place to, if they run into fake news, and how they can rectify that. So essentially they want to assign Snopes and, what's the other one? Reality Check or whatever, the flame one? Yeah, they want to assign these types of groups over independent sites, people just running their blogs. I can think of the Mom Street Journal is a group that I do a lot of work with, and it's run by one lady out in she's in Colorado now. But basically, she takes the list every year that is secretly published, and it's all about the damages that the vaccine court has paid out to families for kids who have been damaged by vaccines. And I think last year it was $180 million in damages for things that they claim are safe and effective that they have no liability for. So if they don't have any liability for them, they shouldn't be able to force them on us. And that is what I firmly believe. If people want to go vaccinate their kids, do it. I say read the damn insert. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, too. Well, I have one thing to say about vaccines. I had the opportunity recently to speak with some Amish communities out in Ohio. Wouldn't you believe it that the Amish have almost no incidences of autism? In fact, statistically, their rates of autism are almost non-existent. Can you guess why? Yeah, it turns out the Amish do not vaccinate their children. That kind of really sums it up right there. But anyway, let's go on to more questions. Ma'am.
I have a question about the cryptocurrency market. I noticed that recently the Rothschilds, Soros, and the Rockefellers are now invested into it. How do you think this will impact cryptocurrency investments?
Can I get you to ask that again? I could not hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I noticed that recently we have the elites that are now investing in cryptocurrencies, such as the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and Soros. How do you think this will impact cryptocurrencies?
How do you think George Soros' influence will impact cryptocurrencies? Okay, so let's see. Pacific, do you want to answer this one?
I'll counter this with the fact that I'm not a cryptocurrency expert by half, but I have many friends who are. The issue with cryptocurrencies is that cryptocurrencies are decentralized. So the decentralized cryptocurrency, essentially the way it works is it cannot be counterfeited. It cannot be, I can't go on my phone and copy one and hand it to Millie and then copy one and hand it to Roger, because the decentralized ledger, as they call it, which is the blockchain, would keep track of every single one of those Bitcoins that we have. Now, the issue where that could come into play is with some of these big players getting in, and I don't think they're going to go down this road, but what the issue could potentially become, and this is me purely speculating, is if they were to go and create some sort of a duplicate blockchain, so to kind of confuse the internal systems, so people wouldn't know which one specifically was the one you were going for. You're going to start to see more saturation of the market now. It's not just going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum, Litecoin. There's going to be many, many more Bitcoins or Bitcoin types altcoins, as many people refer to it, because and actually state actors are getting involved in this now too. Russia, Ukraine, Korea, they're all taking a look at this. China tried to ban it. They tried to ban Bitcoin for a second there, but they actually turned it back because there was so much of an uproar in China. They said, oh, we were actually just kidding. We're not banning it. We're just changing some of the laws around. So that's going to be one of the issues, because they've realized that this is something the cat's out of the bag. It's like the internet. They can't completely control it. So what they're going to do is seek to find ways to get into it and to get after you in terms of both finding out what you're doing with your money, but also looking at how much you have in your accounts. And this is something that a lot of people don't quite understand, is that when you go to look at your wallet, yes, it's true that all transactions are encrypted, and they're encrypted using that same algorithm as the blockchain. But when you're going to look at your wallet on your phone, they're looking right over your shoulder, so they can see it right there.
I'm just going to make a quick, hey, how's it going? I'm going to make a quick announcement. We're going to go until about 6:15 doing this, and we have to run until 7, so I think what we should do then is just hang out and mingle. Yeah. I will say this, though. if somebody asks a question and somebody out there knows the answer, they should come up and answer it, because this is what it's all about. It's not about Jack doesn't have all the answers, I don't have all the answers, Billy doesn't. Well, Jack has all the answers. But you know, together, that's how networks are formed, neural networks. We're a little neural network in here, so let's all, if you think you know the answer to something or have your own perspective, keep it short, but come on up and jump on up. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about participation, that's getting in the game. So we welcome the questions. We'll talk about 6:15, and then let's just hang out and, you know, drink that punch back there. I don't know what's in it, but it's good.
All right, so let's go to another question. You right here.
Hi, my name is Stone Washington. I'm a junior at Clemson University and an intern at the Heritage Foundation. And I'm the son of Professor Ellis Washington. He interviewed with you, Billy, last March on InfoWars. We're really big fans, and keep up the good work.
Awesome, thank you.
My question was geared towards Alex and what Jack was saying earlier about the whole China situation. I find it very difficult. I usually argue with a lot of fellow interns and people my age about Russia. I don't see them as big of a threat as the leftist mainstream media is perpetuating them as. And I see China as being a greater threat to U.S. interests with our growing deficit of over $800 trillion with them stealing our intellectual property. I just want to ask, what would you say what could President Trump do to maybe shift the narrative towards putting more pressure on China as being our main enemy and not Russia?
Well, I tell you, you hit the nail on the head, because President Trump, he should honestly keep doing exactly what he's doing right now. Everything that he's done with these tariffs, the Chinese completely blinked on these tariffs. I don't know if you guys have saw this. He immediately, a couple of tweets about automobile tariffs, and the Chinese immediately turned around. President Xi Jinping already said just this morning, he said, we can't have this, we're going to turn it down, we're going to have less tariffs. See, the Chinese economy is the way it's set up right now. They are dependent on our resources and the resources of countries around the world. They're dependent on precious metals, raw earth elements. They don't have those resources in their country, so what they're doing is they're fabricating based on resources that come from us. I come from the state of Pennsylvania, and a lot of Pennsylvania lumber gets shipped over to China. It gets manufactured in China, so turned into chairs, tables, podiums, as it were, and then shipped back into the U.S. Well, if we start cutting off that flow, if we start putting tariffs on that flow, then there's nothing that they can really do about it, because they're completely dependent on it. And it's these moves and us telegraphing it, what Lighthouser is doing, our trade representative is very, very smart in terms of looking at sourcing for the NAFTA process, because China understands the back door of NAFTA that NAFTA provides into Mexico and into Canada when it comes to some of these materials like steel and aluminum. They say, oh, no, it came from Mexico or Canada. No, it came from China. Then it went over to your country, now it's being come in. So the president completely understands this, and it's these basic steps that we're changing in terms of looking at how the Chinese economy works and realizing how dependent on us they are.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Let's go to this lovely lady over here.
Thank you. Jack, one of the things that we all have in common is our disdain for the establishment. And I know that you are one of the headliners for an alternative to CPAC. And I'd like you to do a shameless plug for it, for this conservative conference that is scheduled for this fall, along with Ali Alexander and Alex Phillips, who's here today, the two main organizers. Thank you.
Yeah, so what Jane is talking about, Dr. Ruby's talking about, is that there's going to be a conference held, and Alex Phillips is right here. He's actually the host of the conference, and afterwards get with him because he's got so much more information. They've invited me to come speak on it. I just interviewed Ali Alexander, who's the other co-host. And we've decided that CPAC is broken, folks. CPAC it used to be the grassroots, place where you could meet, place where you could activate, where you could connect with other people, like we're doing today. And I want to make sure that everyone does do that today. Make sure you get somebody's phone number, right? But make sure you talk to people that you haven't talked to. Just talk to the same 2 or 3 people that you always know. make that effort to go up to somebody, talk to them, say, hey, can I get your phone number? Can I get your Twitter handle? Obviously not Facebook because we don't use that anymore. But get in touch with them. And so this is it's going to be held in September, early September. It's called the American Priority Conference, and it's going to be a conference to take the place of what CPAC used to be, where actual grassroots Americans can meet together and discuss how to be activists in politics today.
All right.
Right here, right here in DC.
All right, so let's go to this gentleman right here.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Yes, let's give ourselves all a big round of applause for having the courage to come forward and to dine with the infamous Roger Stone and what's his name? Alex Jones. That's right there. Alex Jones. We won't forget you, Doctor. You're also very important. My name is True Dave. I am a long-time listener of InfoWars and a first-time caller. I'm a patron of 6,000 points, so I encourage you to buy from the store. They are excellent, excellent health products. You can actually stop paying your health insurance and invest in the health store, the info store. I have a question, but I need to preface my question. That one might say that the longest government that we know of on the face of the planet is the Christian government. And at the center of this government is a man. And you know his name is Jesus. Now, he gets his props. Now, I'm going to go a little deeper. As Christians, which InfoWars is professing to be a Christian channel, and we study the Bible, the book of Revelation clearly talks about the end times. And we are clearly in the end times. So what is it that we must be looking for at the end times? That's one question. Two, Christ is the focus. If we do not understand that the Lord of the Second Advent has returned to this earth, who assisted Nixon, who assisted Reagan, who created the Washington Times that Alex Jones quoted every day since he started in Austin, Texas. If we don't come to understand that this Christ has left his sons on this earth to guide us to the future, because the Bible clearly says that we will be in the reign of 1,000 years. And I'm here to witness, I'm a living witness, that Christ has come. His name is Sun Myung Moon, and he has done incredible work. Well, no, wait a minute. Wait, I don't have to speak?
Hey, no, that's good. Keep preaching.
Well, then you have the opportunity to speak. Well, he's not Jesus, but I want to say it very clearly.
What is your question?
If you heard the first one, without Christ, we cannot make America great again.
Thank you.
It was 50 years ago that a black preacher.
Ask a question or sit down.
Am I being censored? So 50 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King gave a speech. Dr. King talked about on April 3rd, he went through history. He went through Roman history and came to the present era, Greek civilization. He talked about that it was at this time in American history that he wanted to live because he said his eyes had seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. I'm here to testify. What newspaper did Alex Jones quote every day when he first started?
What was your question?
What newspaper did Alex Jones quote every day when he first started?
What newspaper did Alex Jones quote?
Who created the Washington Times?
Oh, Jeff Bezos. Or no, I don't know. Jeff Bezos.
Why would a Korean create a paper in America?
We have free
press.
America has freedom of speech and free press.
Allowed to.
That time in Korea, yeah.
So I'm being pressured, but there's more to reveal to those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. But I'm not sure if we can handle the truth.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hey, you know what
I would say most of it was screaming in the mic is not, the speakers are loud. I would say this. Get a podcast or get a video and film your stuff and put it out. And people will either like it or they won't like it. That's what I say. Because the key is people like that individual who just heard, need to be able to say what they want to say. And that's why we have this problem with YouTube censoring people. So I don't think we just wanted to get to the question. We're only here for another 15 minutes. Hey, if you want to preach later, that's great. Talk to some people here. And then we're going 5 more minutes. Also, after a few more questions, we're going to close with a prayer from an individual who's running for Congress, and he's going to blow the horn of what horn is that?
Shofar.
There it is, shofar. So we're gonna blow the horn, and we're gonna end it with a little prayer, and then mingling, and yeah, we got a few more, 5 more minutes of questions.
All right, let's get a question from this lady right here.
Well, I'm certainly not going to, do a preach. I just want to say thank you to all of you who are participating in this gathering. And I also want to say that your work is amazing. What I would like to ask of you, we are on the precipice of history. History is being made in this time, in this moment, constantly. And you guys are at the forefront of that. I would like to ask you if you could all gather on the stage, that includes Roger and all of you, so that the people here can take a picture of you to memorialize this moment before we depart. Thank you.
Yeah, at the close of the Q&A, we can ask all of the people who spoke up here, the panels, to come up here and take a picture. Thank you. Let's go over here. Sir.
Hi, everyone. So I just want to briefly go back to the vaccination question because I just haven't answered. As a long-time Infowars follower, I'm just going to spill it out and say, hey, California was the first state to mandatorily vaccinate children for school purposes. And this is something that has happened, and I hope it doesn't continue to be a dominant theory. I'm just going to spill out also the 2016 causes of death in the U.S. through June. The top 6 of being abortion by 500,000, heart disease, cancer, tobacco, obesity, and the 6th one being medical errors. So, and by the way, the last one on the list, which is like a list out of 20, is being murdered by gun, which only goes to 5,276. So the problem here, America, is it's not guns, it's actually our own medical institution. So, I am seeking further guidance from the alternative movement as far as what is your approach towards a better medical institution. I do want to thank you for bringing Dr. Edgar Group. He's been done a very good job. I want to just acknowledge here that because of the whole Infowars program, I have not been sick in the last 4 years. And so, I've never done anything. I've got fever. I've been a solid beast. I have a strong diet, and I have a good, I filter my water with ProPure. I cook my own food because I grew up overseas. I just want to thank you everyone for this.
Awesome. That's so great to hear.
I'm
really glad you answered that question, or you answered that question, and there's something I don't talk about too much. But my father actually worked in a mental institution back in Pennsylvania. It's a state hospital, and my grandmother worked there before. It was a huge institution, not only for the state, but it was a lot of jobs. Right where I grew up was the hospital. Right, we called it the Norristown State Hospital. So we saw, and as I was growing up, I saw it slowly and slowly getting shut down. Different, this they wouldn't have funding for this building, they wouldn't have funding for this building, and I couldn't quite understand why. Because they said, well, now we're going to shut down all of them except for this main, facility, and we're going to dump all the people in here. But then as they shut down the buildings, I kept saying to my dad, I said, Dad, what's going to happen to the people? Where are the people going now that we're shutting it down? And he said, well, Jack, they're just letting us go because the state has decided that we shouldn't fund mental health anymore. We shouldn't fund these institutions. And I said, but Dad, some of these guys, they could be dangerous out on the street. They can be dangerous. They can cause harm to themselves or others. What are we going to do? And he said, well, we just have to live with it. We have to pray and we have to hope. And I think that we've actually seen since about 1976, when a lot of this changeover started happening, the shutdown of the mental institutions in America, mental health, public mental health, that there's been a larger rise in some of these mass killings. And this isn't me talking, National Institute of Mental Health has put this out, and in fact, one of their former directors stated that when they decided to do this changeover from institutional mental health towards what we have now, which is pharmaceutical mental health, right? You go, you get a prescription, the pharmaceutical companies, prescribe you whatever they feel like, and then they put you back out on the street and say, please take your pills. We've now seen, he said, you know what, we went too far. We let out people that shouldn't have been let out. We stopped funding things that shouldn't have been funded, that should be funded. And this is something where, of course, the politicians say, great, we don't have to fund something, we can use that money for something else. So, and I say this as a Republican, but I would absolutely be for refunding our mental health institutions, recreating the system of mental health in this country, finding a way that used to work, and then a way that we decided to give up because of political necessity. So thank you.
Amen.
Yes, I would agree with what you said there, Jack Posobiec, regarding, it might be worth it to look into putting more funding back into our mental health systems. But what I will say on the American healthcare system is it is so overburdened. We saw how Obamacare was raising rates, putting people in these positions where they were having such large insurance payments for health insurance that it was exceeding even their mortgages. We don't want to live in a society where we have to be forced to pay some unreasonably high health insurance, where we had some lying politicians saying, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your premiums, and it wasn't true. So overall, what I will say is there is a way to help America's healthcare crisis, and it's really quite simple. Americans need to hold Monsanto and some of these genetically modified organism producers liable. The Monsanto Protection Act protected Monsanto from liability in the same way that our pharmaceutical industries, the vaccine industry, has been protected from liability when they injure our children by vaccinating, when they injure our public, our people, by feeding them genetically modified corn, soy, and other products that have been sprayed with chemicals. You really think that doesn't have an impact on America's health, which then impacts the American taxpayer? If we're the ones having to forfeit our tax dollars, we should be sure to ask our congressmen, our senators, to undo the Monsanto Protection Act so we can hold Monsanto liable for the harm that they're causing our society. Make Monsanto pay our insurance. Make Monsanto pay for all of these sick people because they're the ones who are making them sick. All right, let's go to one more question and then we're going to call it quits.
We'll be around.
We'll be hanging out.
We'll be talking with you guys. We'll come up and do a photo. So you right there, sir.
Hi. Quick question. A few weeks ago, you guys had on your show a gentleman, Bill Mitchell, who's been kind of saying that the whole Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump, the whole thing is a kind of an act. No. And yesterday there was the big FBI raid. So I want to know what you think about that. If you think Bill is right, if he's wrong, if he's somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
So Bill Mitchell is a very good friend of mine. Even before I'm with One American News now with OAN. Prior to that, I actually was a co-host on the Bill Mitchell Show during the election and then immediately thereafter. I think Bill's a great guy. I have a lot of respect for what he has to say when it comes to the polls. A lot of respect for his understanding of Donald Trump's mindset and his sales ability and really what his pitch is on many things. We don't always quite see eye to eye on things, and Sessions is something where I don't know if I completely agree with Bill that all of this is a planned out masterstroke by Trump or by Sessions, but I will say though that I don't quite believe that Sessions is as asleep at the wheel as some would have you think. I think the appointment of John Huber out in Utah is part of that. I think that the IG report, this Harvard's IG report, when it does come out, and I've heard this from people who are very high up in the Department of Justice or were immediately prior to this, immediately high up. And when that thing comes out, they're not going to be talking about firing individuals. They're going to be talking about firing entire floors at the Department of Justice. Because there is some actual serious abuses that went on out there. So I'm not part of that too. I'm definitely not part of. I'm not part of hashtag Trust the Plan, but I would give Jeff Sessions a little more credit than most. Okay.
I just gotta say this about Jeff Sessions. Any man who says that people who smoke marijuana are bad people is an asshole. But I think we should legalize it and get rid of it, as Roger's done and others have said. And so we're gonna close this portion out, and then maybe we'll hang out. We have a room till 7. Come on up here. We're gonna get a closing prayer. So this is John.
And by the way, I'm running for Congress. Rob Duke. One of the issues is legalize marijuana federally. It's a medicine.
Totally agree.
Cure all. Does so many things. So I got involved politically because of Alex Jones. 2007 big InfoWars. Found him on George Norrie. And just became addicted to him. He's the one that got me interested in politics. It's basically Alex Jones. And now we have Alex Jones Jr. as president. So my number one hero is Alex Jones and the whole InfoWars team exposing this evil New World Order government George Soros is pushing. And then now we got the greatest president. I believe he's going to be the greatest president ever.
Greatest person ever.
President Trump. And so so this is a biblical trumpet. I blew this at the White House all night, election night, Dr. Dorsey. And the Secret Service surrounded me, 4 patrols. I can show you the pictures. Add me as a Facebook friend, Johnny Ray for Congress. And the officer said, dude, what are you doing? What's that sound? I said, officers, this is a biblical trumpet. I'm blowing it towards the White House. They said, are you blowing that for Trump to win? I said, absolutely, officers. Yes, I am. They said, they're going to call you the trumpeter for Trump. I said, thank you. That's my new nickname, officer. So, God bless. And I'm going to blow this trumpet. The Bible says, Jack, in Numbers chapter 10, this is the eternal covenant. Dr. Corsi, he knows his Bible. Woo! Harvard graduate, New York Times. Check his Killing the Deep State. Amazing. I can win. I'm a grassroots guy, but not anymore. If these guys, Alex Jones is the biggest media, I believe, in the world. Sean Hannity, Lou Dobson, they're all starting to pioneer because of Alex Jones pushing this evil satanic government. So we're blowing the shofar. The Bible says in Numbers chapter 10 that when we blow the shofar, it pushes away our enemies. We are in evil times. This is a spiritual war, and that's why we have Satanists like George Soros, who is a Satanist, Hillary Clinton's into witchcraft, Larry Nichols, John Podesta is a real Satanist. So help me get in Congress so I can help Trump lift up his arms to drain the swamp. Hallelujah. With the InfoWars team. So let's blow the shofar and let me say a prayer. 3 times for the Trinity, God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father God, we just thank you, God. God, this is my greatest honor, privilege. God, I've been learning about what's really going on behind the scenes, God, through Alex Jones all these years, and his great team, God, Dr. Corsi, Roger Stone, Jack Osodiak, Rob Dew, all of them, God. And God, cover Alex Jones with the blood of Jesus and the Holy Spirit. God, touch President Trump. Always cover him and his family and his administration with the blood of Jesus. Psalms 91, angels of God. And Father God, push back all that hatred against Trump. God, I'm praying, God, for President Trump to get the revelation, the boldness. God, I believe, God, he needs to fire, as Dr. Corsi said, fire Sessions, fire Rosenstein. God, get an attorney general, God, that could fire Mueller. God, I believe Jake Sekulow would be a great choice, God. So I'm just believing that Trump will forget about trying to be popular with the mainstream media, CNN, Satanic News Network. They all hate him, God. So push it back, God. And also, God, I'm praying, God, for your judgment upon George Soros. God, he's a real Satanist. He's trying to destroy America. And push it back, God, in the wonderful name of Jesus. Your will be done. Your judgment. Put him in jail. Him, Obama, Hillary Clinton. Your judgment in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. And Mingle, enjoy the punch. I'm going to leave the strings going. I'm going to put them up here, shoot that way. Anybody wants to come talk to the strings, talk to the people out there, they'll be able to do that. So feel free. Infowars.com.
Hey, we're going to want to right up immediately after this. There's a mock meetup that's going on right over in the bar here. So we go here, that's where we finish up in the room, and then when the kids out here.
Oh, it's in here, okay.
And I'm buying you a drink.
How's it going? Good to see you. You want the camera? Well, kind of. I did my best. Okay. Alex Bajan. Hey, good to see you. Alex Bajan. Oh, yeah. I don't know where Leanne was. Leanne didn't make it. Is she here? I don't think Leanne's here.
She was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, this morning.
This morning.
Hey.
Hello. I'm not a part of the team. I'm just Polish American. I need to be watching. Very nice.
Get in front of here. Yeah, we love it. Because we're on the streams right now, so talk loud. But go ahead.
So how do we as conservatives, as hopefully company owners, how do we integrate and work together in order to better
starts creating stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding the networks, I think, of people that are already kind of doing stuff. There's there's homeschool networks. I think that's where you start with, because to me, the homeschool community is very, and they're not even all about internet. They'll text, they'll email. They're not all about Facebook groups. But I would say the first place to start with anything, especially if it's educational, homeschool groups. That's where you're going to find people who are interested in your ideas.
And then with Alex Jones, I'm wondering, how does it work for somebody that may be creating some kind of a product that maybe people would like to use?
Like an app?
Like an app. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm creating a trading software, trading stocks.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a monthly basis. Hopefully it'll be an industry shaker.
Okay.
Multi-million-dollar idea, but anyway.
Well, I would say the people to reach out to is other conservatives who are into economics. Jerome Corsi, Gerald Celente, who do we have else? There's other people who are bigger. I would say Bob Chapman, he's now dead. He's a great guy. He's a big gold guy.
Yeah.
Who are the other guys? Robert Kiyosaki. He's another guy. I would say hit all these economists up.
Yeah.
You got to just... And here's the key. Hit them up once, and then follow up in about a week, and then follow up about a week after that. And be respectful. Don't be like, I emailed you 5 times. Why would you answer me? That doesn't work. I get people who say that to me, and I go, delete. Yeah. What you want to do is just evaluate what they'll evaluate what you have, and they will get in contact with you if it piques their interest. So it's all about putting a title in that's going to pique their interest. Don't just put a link that says you have to see this. Tell them what it is. This link, don't give them like a book.
All right.
Give them like 2 sentences, so they can go, all right, I want to look at this.
Yeah.
Because if you can write it 2 sentences to pique somebody's interest, it will happen. So send them your first email, then change it up if that didn't work. And then change it up a little bit if that didn't work. That's my best advice.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Sure. What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Just abusing it in a way that results in a peaceful reconciliation. God bless you. You're welcome. Thank you very much. I have one. I've got what district are you running in? Okay. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia.
Hey, I've got the streets live. Okay. If you want to go, do your thing. Tell people what you were going to say earlier. Boom. Wait, hold on. Get over here. It's a better light. Yeah. Right there. All right.
I want to.
There you go.
You ready, Rob Dew?
Go ahead. You're on.
I have to give.
You're on.
I have to give deep props to Rob Dew. Rob Dew gets a big high five, from the brothers down the hood. So today here at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington D.C., a prophet spoke to the other prophet in the wilderness, and so we have to come to a level of understanding as to the time that we live in. And so there's no doubt about it that Brother Alex Jones, as well as so many other named and unnamed persons, have been fighting for civil rights and freedom for a long time. Long time. And so this is the time to vanquish the devil. Why? Because Christ has returned. The Lord of the Second Advent was born in 1920 in what is now North Korea. And at the age of 16, had a deep and profound revelation with Jesus. And Jesus spoke to him personally about his life, his circumstances, and the predicament that humankind is in. And so Sun Myung Moon, through his spiritual awareness and spiritual abilities, began to travel all through the spiritual world and met so many people, saints and sages who had lived on the earth and who are now living in the spiritual world. And he spoke to them candidly about their experiences and their circumstances, and came to understand the deep and profound mysteries and secrets that are currently in this world, and was able to compile the divine principle, which is the completed testament. The completed testament is that which gives us insight into who Satan is, where he came from, what are the laws of nature, why did God create, how did God create, and what is the purpose of history. All these interesting questions and much more, Sun Myung Moon was able to clarify with clear, rational thought supported by biblical reference. So today, America is in a crucial situation. If we don't come to understand who the living Christ is and what God has accomplished, America is doomed. Let me be clear. Without an understanding of the completed testament and practicing a life of absolute sex, which means one man, one woman, forever. 2, don't harm your fellow brother and sister. 3, don't misuse public money. Those are the basic principles that all human beings must abide by. And we must come to know that government is in a position of servants, not king, not master. Government must serve the kings and queens of God's kingdom. So I want to encourage you. I want to give a shout out to my elder brother, Hyunjin Sean Moon, who has the daily, King's Reporter every day except Sunday, from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning for all you early bird risers, in which he is discussing clearly the current circumstances that relate to Scripture, that relate to politics, that relate to daily life, that talks about the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. And also the new Constitution, the Constitution of the nation, of the Kingdom of God, the the United States Constitution of China. Look, it's here. You should get your copy and read it. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen. There's so much more to be shared, so much more to be heard and understood. And I am looking forward to reading and working together with all my brothers and sisters for the sake of righteousness and to be able to pray together, study together, and slay the devil together. Satan must be bound and placed in a fiery pit. Lock her up. So with that said, here at the fabulous Mayflower Hotel, I want to thank InfoWars for all their perseverance as they're under fire, going through so much tragedies, of personal hardships in terms of 13 lawsuits. So please, purchase the products from InfoWars.com. They are incredible health remedies. This is traditional Chinese medicine brought to us to the West. You don't need to pay $500 for health insurance. Take turmeric, take body ease, take alpha power, take iodine. All these things are the natural elements given by God, not the pharmaceuticals that will allow our bodies to heal properly. So, with all this said, I want to give thanks and praise to the Almighty Heavenly Father who has created us. And we shall be in touch. More shall be revealed. Don't leave before the miracle happens. Amen and adieu.
attending else, so he was hitting it hard. We were standing right behind him. I don't think we were standing right behind him. Comedy Central. I'm going to have my age. Doesn't matter. Railroad controversy. That's
have to prove his presence.
I would not be surprised if that was okay, so I tell you what you're listening to. No, I don't know if I have.
All right, guys, we're about to cut this short. Cut it short. It's been long. 2 hours, almost 3 hours for some of you, and there's still 200 people watching on Periscope. We really do appreciate it. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWars.com/show. Free streams. Send out the free streams to people. Talk to people about it. Get your InfoWars shirts. We appreciate everybody watching. It was all good. The punch was really good. We love it. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. We really are going to change the world by just keep doing what we're doing. But we need to do more, and we need to keep doing it. Just don't forget that. Don't forget that. Hey, come on up here. Talk to the people. You're going to be our last guy talking. What do you want to say?
I just want to say...
It's about 2,000 people watching right now, collectively.
Cool. Support the Second Amendment. You don't want to go to FEMA camps. Alex Jones is good. Trump is good. Stand with Trump, and then the globalists won't get to him.
All right. I know you want to get a question and you didn't get it, but...
That's fine. Here's what I was about to say.
What were we going to ask? Yeah.
Well, I was first going to say that Stormy Daniels can't sell any more porn, so she wants to get attention in another way. And then I wanted to ask, how can you red pill, a friends and family? Or is it too
You know
late?
what I do?
Yeah.
I ask them to go get the back of their toothpaste and read it. And then they go, oh, it says if you swallow more than a pea size of this, call poison control immediately. And I say, well, then why do they put fluoride in our water if it's poison? Because that's why it's poison, is the sodium fluoride. I've red pilled a lot of people that way.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
All right, man.
John Podesta's a pedophile.
Don't we know it? All right, we're going to sign off. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Infowars.com/show. Infowars.com. Hold on, let me click.